Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are here in Monaco for the Monaco Grand Prix. Silver Season 8 then, Round 8 here in the Monégasque part of the country of France. And welcome along then to the stream and welcome along then to qualifying as, Mer ran off Sorry, I'm going to call you Mayor. Sorry, he has had a clout with the wall there, and just trying to get himself out of the way, I think, then, of the cars coming through. Then, not an easy circuit to try and negotiate then on in-laps and out-laps and whatnot, but we are ready to get going then. Beast has said you and Bonjour from Gordo as well, then looking forward to seeing how this one is going to fare here in Monaco then tonight. Then 16 minutes left of the qualifying session, no times on the board just yet. Then we have got a couple of reserves, and a new recruit then has joined us, and in the Aston Martin then in place of who is this? In place of an Aston Martin driver. I think Jay Hings then is not racing tonight then in the Aston Martin. Gordo is the other Aston Martin driver, so it's going to be Jay Hings then, unfortunately, who is not in the car tonight then here for Monaco. But Meranov is going to take us away then. He is going to be reserving in the Aston Martin tonight. Spencer Milton has joined us as well then in the Haas, and he is replaced for tonight, that is. He is replaced, goodness me, who is Irvine's teammate? I think it is Tonto then, who had a bit of a difficult race in the last outing in Imola last week. So he's taken to the track now as well then, and we've got Casey Jennett then back on circuit as well then after a first round appearance, first reserve appearance last week in Imola. Then he is looking to take to the track and then for Monaco in the Red Bull in place of somebody else. Goodness me, it's Riyadh then, who is not racing here tonight in the Red Bull. So there we go, and that is the reserves here for tonight. And Pot Stuff is on the track. Then here comes Casey Jennett then to start us on the way for qualifying here in Monaco. Then up to the line is an 11.6 to set the times alike then here in qualifying. Meranov has unfortunately invalidated his time. Then Gordo has invalidated his time then coming through the Mirabeau hairpin. He's ghosting then, so hopefully he can get himself sorted out of the way then into the Nouvelle Chicane for Kaidel. Kiki's gone faster than a 1.9107. And Kamara Racer has done the 9.3 as well then into P2. Goodness me, I am trying to get myself sorted. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to get myself charging so I can keep the stream comments alive on my phone. There we go then. Good stuff indeed then. And welcome along then to the stream then, everybody. Welcome to the qualifying here for Monaco. Of course, this will decide the grid. It should do anyway. Decide the grid then for the start of the Grand Prix then, which is coming up in about 15 minutes time. Then Casey dropped down to P6 and Sweet under P5. Vanquish up into P4 with 10.2 for him. Then Pot Stuff, who is in the Kick Sauber tonight. Then I've already done it. It's only been the first time. I always call it the Kick Alpine for some reason. I don't know why. Pot Stuff into P3, second row of the grid for him at 10.0. Then 10.2 for Vanquish. Sweet MJP 11.2. Casey Dennett in P6 11.6. Then he was the first man to set time. But Plotus has done a 9.7, pushing them all down the order. Into P3 goes the Red Bull driver. Good stuff indeed. Then Kaidel a 12.8. Then in P8. Then Vessia a 13.7, sorry, on the intermediate compound tyre, so we don't have to worry about him. Ranov is back on circuit again. Then he's coming down towards the Nouvelle Chicane this time. Then there's a McLaren behind us. No, it's Cutler Chicane, never mind then. His teammate of Gordo, though, is further along the track, I think. So we'll watch Gordo coming through into the Nouvelle Chicane, which is unfortunately where I had a bit of an accident last night in Gold. And oh dear, Gordo having a bit of an accident there, but keeping it on the well, out of the walls, I should say, then, because the walls are very treacherous around here, if you hadn't noticed already. But there we go, into the swimming pool chicane now for Gordo, and let's see what he can do then into Raskas then for his first time on the board. Then a McLaren just getting out of the way, very nicely done indeed then is the McLaren, as here comes Gordo then through the anti-nodes complex of corners, then up to the line for Gordo on his first outing. It's P5 for the Aston Martin driver. Good stuff indeed. Who is next to cross the line? We just had a McLaren, a Mr. Elite, and notice Kaidel crossing the line. Then P12 for him. Then R2B up into a P7. Then he's improved then to a 10.1, and that puts himself P7 for the first time for his Ferrari team as well. Then good stuff indeed. Of course, returning then after a bit of a holiday hiatus then was R2B. And what a track to return to, as here comes Mumford. Then he's having a bit of trouble getting out of Anthony Nodes here. Up to the line then for Mumford. It's P3, and good stuff indeed. Kiki improves then to an 8.4. Fantastic stuff indeed from Kiki. He is flying out there in qualifying. He is almost a second ahead of his rival Kamara Racer for P2, and currently cementing that pole position as it stands then for the Mercedes driver. Fantastic stuff indeed. Nigel improves to a 9.9, then into P5 then for the Kick Sauber, and of course he had a good race then last week, then getting himself some good points on the board then for the Green Machine, and now looking quite strong there in P5 as well. Then down the order, who have got left on track then, Spencer just starting off another lap then, where is Ultimate Beast? Then Beast has invalidated his time then, and coming back round through the swimming pool sector as well. And of course the championship leader as it stands then after a fantastic result in Monaco. 3 wins in Monaco in Imola last week. 3 wins on the bounce then is for Beast then in the Emilia Romagna section of the calendar, but of course this is slightly different. And we'll see what he can do then on his first outing in qualifying here then. We'll ride on board with the champion as we go through the Sandavot complex of corners as well, then up the hill towards the casino as well now, flying through up to turn 3, then coming around this left-hander, sorry, I should say, then into the right-hander, which is snapped straight away then, and Beast is out of qualifying there. We saw a big smash there on the, clipping the wall then on the right-hand side, and unfortunately for Beast, the championship leader is out of qualifying then, and there's a Red Bull then just gone through, but I think he didn't realise that the Mercedes was ghosted then. Unfortunately for Beast, he's out of qualifying. Goodness me, the championship leader then having a massive smash there in his first qualifying attempt, then unfortunately out of the qualifying in the first few, or in his first flying lap, unfortunately for Beast, then out of the qualifying, and unfortunately done and dusted in qualifying here as well. He's going to have to do a lot of work then in the race then to try and make up those places, and of course Mumford is his championship rival. He is currently in P3. He is going to be enjoying the fact that his championship contender is out of the qualifying, and starting from the back of the grid as it looks like then for Beast, unfortunately for him. Then here comes Kamara then down the hill towards the Nouvelle Chicane. Can he improve by a few tenths of a second? Then can he get himself a whole second though to take away that pole position then from Kiki as we fly through into sector 2 now? Purple in sector 2 as well for Kamara Racer. Good stuff indeed now into the swimming pool section, unfortunately cutting the curve there and invalidating his time. Then Spencer Milton up into P4 with a fantastic first qualifying lap then. A 9.6 puts the Haas P4 on the second row of the grid as it stands as well then. Brilliant stuff indeed. Then Swindler P is back out on circuit, then coming down to the Nouvelle Chicane and negotiating it very nicely indeed then in the Alpine. Much better than I did in the race last night. So good stuff indeed from Swindler P then into sector 2 then, unfortunately cutting across the curbs and invalidating his time. Then he is done and dusted on that run, unfortunately for the Alpine driver. 1.84 says Gordon, then that is pretty good stuff indeed. It says, and hi Alex from Kiki as well. Kiki currently enjoying himself on pole position by, well, like I said, almost over an 800ths of a second, I should say then. 8/10 of a second, goodness me, I can't get any maths right. Meranov has done a 11.2, put himself P14 for the time being in the Aston Martin, just trying to negotiate a better time. Then I think he's coming back round to finish off the lap. Then Vessier is back out on circuit on the soft compound tyres. Unfortunately for Beast, he is done and dusted in qualifying as well. Then he's the only driver then not going to be able to set a time in this session. We have got 9 minutes left of the Monaco Grand Prix qualifying before we get ourselves into the race itself. And through the first turn then for Kaidel, looking good indeed. Spencer Milton has retired, and he's retired at the Nouvelle Chicane then somewhere. Goodness me, we can't skip over to him because I can't do the coordination of my thumbs that quickly. But nonetheless, then unfortunately for Spencer Milton, sorry, he is out of qualifying, but he's done a 9.6 then, which currently puts him P4, and he would stay P4 as well. Into the Nouvelle Chicane then for Vessier. Then let's see what he can do this time on a new set of dry compound tyres. This time he's on the soft compound as he's clouting the wall then into the swimming pool section as well. Then 3.2 seconds up on his previous time, and that is going to be putting him in the range of a 1 minute 10, and that could be in the range then of Pot Stuff and potentially Nigel as well, then potentially Vanquish. Where will we see the Ferrari jump up the order to? Let's see as we cross the line. Then here he comes then, finishing off the lap. Then it's an 9.3, then puts himself P3 then. Fantastic improvement then from Vessier. Brilliant stuff indeed. Onto the second row of the grid then, just ahead of the Alpine of Mumford, who is on an outlap here and coming back round them. Pot Stuff has improved to a 9.7, puts himself P7 as well, splitting the Red Bull Racing, I should say, of Vanquish then in a bit of a sandwich now between the Kick Saubers as it stands, but there's still plenty of time then to sort that out as Corner then is just going slowly, then getting himself out of the way then, I think, then to start off another lap here as into Raskas we go. Spencer Milton has been demoted down to P5 then. Unfortunately Nigel jumped up to P6 then with a 9.6. Good stuff indeed then from the Kick Sauber team as Plot is then back out on a lap. Then here comes the Red Bull. Then there's a Mercedes getting out of the way. There's only one Mercedes left in qualifying, and that is Kiki as we go through into the swimming pool section now. 3/10 up then on his previous time. Then that will put him in the range of the second row of the grid. Then can he keep it all together? Then into Raskas as well. Then as we go through the penultimate corner now into Anthony Nodes. Then flying through here as well. Then DRS activated as we go down the main straight. Here comes the Red Bull driver. Then up to the line. What's it going to be? It's P2 then with a 9.2. A fantastic improvement of over half a second then for Plotters. Then brilliant stuff indeed. And I realised I am in the party. Goodness me, I was going to say I'm just annoying all these drivers in qualifying by spectating and commentating in the in the lobby, but I'm in the party, thankfully. I forgot about that. Good stuff indeed. As here comes Mumford then challenging then for the title then with Beast. Only 8 rounds in then. Of course, this is the 8th round of the season. There's 24 rounds to go, or 24 rounds of the season, I should say, not 24 rounds to go after this one, thank God, because I don't think I would handle that, especially with the drivers as well then. But here we come then up to the line then. Let's see what Mumford can do. Can he improve on his previous time? It's almost 4/10 of a, or almost 5/10 of a second, I should say. He puts himself P2 with a 9.0. Then he's still no one can hold a candle to Kiki as it stands then, who is currently on pole position. Then I think he's going to be holding on to that pole position quite comfortably then for the remainder of these 6 minutes of qualifying here. He has got himself an 8.57 then, which is currently, what is that, 6/10 of a second, just a bit over 6/10 of a second ahead of Mumford as it stands then. Mile Racer back out on circuit, coming through the Mirabeau hairpin now. Vessia is also out on circuit as well. Where is Vessia going to be then? He's going to go for another attempt here, I think, coming across the line, goodness me, for his second attempt here in qualifying. Let's see what it's going to be. It's a 9.0, puts himself P2 ahead of Mumford now as well then. Brilliant stuff indeed. Vessia then crosses the line then to get himself on the front row of the grid by only 34,000 of a second then difference to Mumford in P3 now. Kamara Racer has invalidated his time at the Nouvelle Chicane. I imagine then coming through into the swimming pool section now. Gordo is unfortunately invalidated again as well. Sweet Andrew Peters getting out of the way, I think, of another car coming through. Then Meranov is coming through. Where is he? He's in the tunnel now and coming through towards the Nouvelle Chicane in the Aston Martin. Then let's see if we can get it slowed down in time. Yes, he can, and he's kept it within track limits as well, which is quite good. As we go through now into the Sector 3, he's purple in Sector 2, and that is pretty good stuff indeed. 6/10 of improvement then into Sector 3, the swimming pool section. There's a clout to the wall then for the right hand side of the car, and into Raskas we go then. Very nicely done indeed. Then Anthony Nodes next to Conker as he comes across the line, then coming up to the line, I should say. Then let's see what the Aston Martin driver can do. Then it's going to be 11 point, goodness me, it's a 10.3 then. He puts himself P12, and I'm not quite sure what happened there, but it seemed like the timing had a bit of a problem then, trying to keep up with the Aston Martin. It was going too quickly for the timing screens. There we are then. Can't believe that I did that, says Beast then. Unfortunately, he is out of qualifying then. A big smash there. We saw it in the Casino Square section at the top of the hill then, as we flew through that left-hander then into the right-hander. You can get that misjudged very easily, as unfortunately Beast has found out here. But let's see what he can do then in the Grand Prix. 4 minutes left of qualifying here as we go through the Nouvelle Chicane for Irvine, currently P14 in the Haas. Let's see what he can do. Can he improve further then into the rest of this qualifying session? Then purple again in Sector 2. There's a lot of purple times coming up in Sector 2 as he's almost 4/10 up on his previous time. Then that will put him in the range then of the or just on the outskirts of the top 10 as it stands. Let's see what he can do then through Sector 3 then into Anthony Nodes. Then DRS on the money. Then Vanquish jumps up to P6 at 9.3 then for the Racing Bull driver. Here comes Irvine up to P12 with a 10.1. Good stuff indeed. Goodness me, trying to keep up is the problem around this circuit, as we've got Nigel back out on circuit as well. Then Nigel, I think, is cruising around then on a in lap or potentially an out lap, we don't know, but he does say he's on a lap at the moment. Then Irvine coming back to the pit lane, I think there is one then coming through into the Mirabeau hairpin as well. Then good stuff indeed. Kydell back out on circuit. Then Kydell 11.6 then for the McLaren driver. Let's see what he can do. Can he improve further then in this next portion of the qualifying? 3/10 improvement then, that would put him much higher up. Well, it wouldn't put him much higher up. It would take him ahead of Casey Jennett then, I think, in this qualifying so far. But there's still room for improvement then in Sector 2 and Sector 3 then for Kydell. Let's see what he can do then into the tunnel now as we fly through into that tunnel complex now, heading through. This is the fastest part of the circuit then. And flying through very quickly indeed then is Kydell. Then we've got a red Ferrari, I think, getting out of the way further on the order then, but hopefully they're going to be out of the way then for Kydell as we go through the Nouvelle Chicane. Very nicely done indeed for Kydell. Then coming through now into the swimming pool section. Then 3/10 improvement still on his current lap. Let's see what he can do then into the swimming pool section. Then almost losing the back end of the car. Then coming through that, but he's kept it intact just about. And now into Raskas as well here as well. Fly through into Anthony Nodes. Then 2 minutes left to qualify, almost into the wall then on the entry to the corner there as well. Then coming through then down to the start finish line. He's improved. He hasn't improved, unfortunately. That bit of a back end loss then might have had a bit of a problem then for Kydell, but I think he's got enough ERS to play with to go back out again then and try another lap then. So we'll come back to him Casey Janet is further along. Then we've got another car. I think it's 300p. Then starting off another lap. Then we've got where is Nigel though? Nigel is on a lap. Then Nigel's gone purple in sector 2 as well. Then into Raskas we go. Then for the kick salver. Then let's see if he can improve on P8. Then currently he is improving on his time by 0.3 of a second. Then up to the line. Then for Nigel, let's see what it's going to be. And it's a 9.2. Puts himself P5 there with a 4.73 improvement. Then fantastic stuff indeed. Then P5 for Nigel. I think he's done and dusted in qualifying here. There's not enough time for him to go back out and come back in again. And to come back in and go back out again, I should say. But there we go. So that's that then. Unfortunately for Gordo, he's invalidated his time. I think he's got time to go again. And yes, he does have time to go again. So it's not all doom and gloom then for him. Then where is Miranov? He is starting off another lap then, as we've got a Red Bull coming down the pit straight. Then it is Plotters. Sorry, Plotters then starting off another lap as well. Then into the first turn. Vessia then starting off a lap as well very soon. I don't know, it's RTB starting off a lap actually. So he crosses the line to get going again. Then here comes Vessia. Then Vessia then starting off his lap. No, sorry, Vessia goes P2. Vessia improves to P2, I should say. Then goodness me, with an 8.542. I thought Kiki was safe then, but it's close indeed then for Vessia. Only what is that? Less than the 10th away then from pole position. Then currently second row of the grid. Sorry, second place on the grid. Then is Ferrari of RTB's had an issue, and goodness me, that Ferrari then is that Ferrari is having a problem. As yes, he has got himself sorted and out of the way. Then goodness me, as Kiki comes down the hill then as well. That was just about in time then. RTB unfortunately has that wing damage. He's not going to be able to improve, I don't think, on his time. As Plotters, no, it's not Plotters, it's Casey Janet then crossing the start-finish line then to finish off his final run here in qualifying. Let's see what it's going to be then from Casey then. Unfortunately, it's not competitive enough then to improve. He stays P15. He's done and dusted in qualifying. Irvine is done and dusted as well in P14. Goodness me, Mr. Lee unfortunately has invalidated as well. Then RTB is not going to improve. Then Farfar's done a 9.7 on his one and only attempt in qualifying. It looks like here as well. Vanquish then trying to improve. Then Plotters then crosses the line but doesn't improve on his final time. Here comes Mumford up to the line. Then Mumford improves. Oh no, doesn't improve. I should say. Then there's a McLaren right in front of us there as well. Who is that? That is Kaidel's car, I think. I think it is finished in qualifying. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but nonetheless, then Kiki improves to an 8.0. Oh, fantastic stuff indeed from Kiki. Look at him go. Then here comes Sweet P, then round at the Raskas corner, then into Antinos to round off the qualifying here, I think. As here he comes in the Alpine. Can he improve further? Then let's see what it's going to be. It's a 6th improvement, puts himself P13. As it stands then, brilliant stuff indeed. Then Far coming back to the pit lane. Vanquish has had an issue at the Raskas corner, and goodness me, there's a, oh my goodness, what is that then? I think that was Favre. There's Favre's car, but I'm not sure what Favre's up to then, because he's not going to be able to carry on in this rate. Well, yeah, he has improved his time, I think then, but I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Goodness me, nonetheless, fantastic stuff indeed. That is qualifying done and dusted then, as we've just getting ourselves parked up in the garages once again. Then Kiki on pole position for the Monaco Grand Prix, 8.089 then is pole here in Silver Season 8, then round 8 as well. Then brilliant stuff indeed from the Mercedes driver. Vessia then on the front row of the grid, then an 8.5 then for Vessia, then brilliant stuff indeed. Then Kamara improves to the 8s as well, then he stays P3, but we'll run through the classification in a jiffy. Then there it is then on our screen. Then Kiki is in P1, Vessia P2, Camaro P3, Mumford, the championship contender, then P4, Nigel P5, Plotters P6, Vanquish P7, Spencer Milton P8. Unfortunately had a big smash, then couldn't improve on his first time. Then Farf P9, Potstaff P10, RTB P11, Gordo P12, then 200p P13, Mr. Elite P14, Irvine P15, Casey P16, Matt Ranov P17, Kaidel P18, and unfortunately for Beast and Reflection, they couldn't get a time on the board. Right then, we are ready to get going very shortly here in Monaco. Then, if you have not checked out our lovely sponsors then just yet, then please do. Then, of course, 3D track prints and get your 3D track art, then your wall art, your keychains, anything like that in the comment section. Sorry, in the description. Sorry, below as we get ourselves ready then to start off the formation lap here. Of course, then if you've got any spare change, then feel free to get yourself some ALR merchandise as well. Then, and check out Mind Charity as well. Then they are a fantastic charity organisation and supporting mental health in all aspects then for everyone's health and well-being then, which is fantastic stuff indeed. But of course we have got some racing here to unfold tonight then. The majority of the field opting for medium compound tyres here. We've got a couple of people on the hards and one person, and that being Ultimate Beast then from P19 on the soft compound tyres. So that is going to be an interesting strategy call then for the Beast. Let's see how it's going to unfold then. Of course, the top 8 then medium compound tyres, Farf in P9 in the Racing Bull, opting for the hard compound tyres. Then Pot Stuff and R2 Beat then P10 and P11 respectively on the mediums, and Gordo on the hards then as well then in P12. Medium compound tyres for the 3 behind then. Casey then opting for the hard compound tyres as well then, as is Reflection from P20. Didn't get a time on the board in qualifying, is looking to start the race, start his attempt of Monaco on this first lap as well here. But we'll have to wait and see then what he can do then. Of course, we're looking forward to seeing what all drivers can do here in Monaco. Then it's a tough old circuit, then the toughest challenge on the calendar. And it is the Monaco Grand Prix is a spectacle then for a reason, isn't it? And we're going to see some spectacular racing, I would imagine. Hopefully they can just keep it all on the grey stuff. Then keep it out of the walls is the most important thing. Keep those wings intact then. But there we are. Then we're lining up then on the grid. Then unfortunately for Kamara, he's been disqualified. But there we go then. We've got Kia and then supporting his Aston Martin, a friend and amigo, then a waste from them soft, says Serious Mushroom. Then potentially we'll have to wait and see what Beast can do on those soft compound tyres as we are lining up then to start off the Monaco Grand Prix here for round 8. Here we go then, 5 red lights are on in Monaco. The 5 red lights are off and away we go then for the Monaco Grand Prix. A good start indeed then from Vessia then, but he's had a bit of a struggle then getting the power down then into turn 1. Good stuff indeed. We'll switch to the, goodness me, we'll turn everything off then as we fly up the hill, it looks like, in towards the casino then. Brilliant stuff indeed for the race leaders. They've got away very nicely as well. It looks like then compared to the rest of the field then as we go through into the casino section down towards the first sector then complete then for lap 1 then into the Mirabeau hairpin and flying through there in nice style as well. It looks like everyone's got through unscathed then. It looks like a Racing Bull trying to sneak down the inside then of a house then. Oh goodness me, there's Alpine, there's all sorts of action in the background there as well. Then we'll switch it on to the camera angles then as Beast has got himself up a place then. He's got himself up 2 places I should say then as Meranov has had an issue then somewhere as we go flying through then down towards the Nouvelle Chicane on lap 1 here in Monaco. Brilliant stuff indeed then. What a start then. Nigel's getting a place then on Mumford. Spencer Milton has gone past Vanquish as we've got Casey, Jennett and Irvine switching places as well. Then there's yellow flags in the background. I think someone's had an issue then. Reflections had an issue somewhere coming out of the coming into the tunnel section then, unfortunately, as then Kaido has dropped down a place and same for Meranov as well. Beast has got 2 places gained then on the first lap. Brilliant stuff indeed on those soft compound tyres as we fly through onto lap 2. Of course DRS now enabled then, but of course it's not too powerful around this circuit. There's only one DRS activation and detection point, and that is down that main straight there, and it is not long enough then to really warrant any overtaking, to be honest, or help any overtaking I should say then. But there we are. We haven't got much option around Monaco, have we, because they can't legally put a DRS then through the tunnel section either, because apparently the wind forces then for the difference outside of the tunnel then into a tunnel then is going to be very difficult for DRS to keep the car pointing in the right direction apparently. But there we go, that's as far as my technical knowledge goes on the matter then. But there we are then. Kinky is being challenged then by Vessia. Then into the pit comes Reflection. He's had an issue then, and unfortunately for Reflection then those hard compound tyres then that he started on are not going to be able to carry on any longer then in his first stint. And almost into the wall there was Vessia, and we can see on board with the front wing it's so close to the walls then through the Nouvelle Chicane, and he's negotiated it very nicely indeed. Brilliant stuff then for the race start. Then yellow flags as we've got Miranov has had an issue somewhere, and he's had a problem then into the tunnel as well. Then it seems like a few drivers having an issue then into that tunnel complex then as we go through into the Nouvelle Chicane. Now I think he's got all of his front wing intact. We'll have to wait and see, but we'll come back to him then. Reflections made a pit stop, then he's into he's back to P20 I should say then, but he's onto a set of medium compound tyres now. Kiki set the fast lap of the race then. Vessier trying to hold on then. Kamara Racer is now challenging as well then for the front row of the order I should say then, of P3 then currently on the podium then for Kamara Racer, and Nigel upper place then he's P4 now ahead of Mumford, who's going to be starting to challenge then as well then on the back of that kick salver very soon as we go through onto lap 3. Then Miranov is in the pit lane as well then, unfortunately for Reflection and Miranov they've been casualties of the first lap or two as into into the Mirabeau hairpin. There we go then, and R2 beats are in. Gordo are battling away then. Gordo's held on to that place I think, or he's got ahead of the Ferrari just about then into the Mirabeau hairpin into sector 2. Now we go and into the tunnel once again then. It goes dark, it goes light again when you come back out then, so it's all good. Right then, unfortunately for Miranov, he's dropped down the order to the back of the field now with that extra pit stop then now, and a wing change I would presume as well. Then we'll have a look now at the tyre compounds and see what everyone's doing. It's hard compound tyres for Miranov then, and Reflections pit for the medium compound tyres a lap previously as well. Then I think both of them had wing damage then from the race start. But goodness me, apart from that, 18 drivers then have got themselves through pretty much unscathed. Unfortunately for Kaido, he has been scathed. He has got the right end plate missing then on that McLaren. Unfortunately for Kaido, then that is bad news indeed as we go through the swimming pool section. Then Farf picked up the first penalty then of the evening, which is classic Farf indeed. But there we go then, out in front then, 4/10 separates Vessier in the Ferrari from Kiki in the race lead in the Mercedes as well. Then as we go into the Mirabeau hairpin once again then for these two, then they are leading the way very comfortably indeed. Then of course setting the pace very comfortably indeed in qualifying as well then, so they are looking to be on top form here in this Grand Prix. But anything can happen in Monaco. It's 39 laps of racing, and it's as I found out yesterday, it is very, very dangerous, especially through this part of the circuit here, so watch out as we go through here. Then Vessier then and Kiki get through very nicely indeed. Then Vessier now putting the pressure on, then look at him go. Oh my goodness me, he's looking at him go, he's got the race lead then, and Kiki's had a problem then. He's spun out then into the swimming pool section. Unfortunately for Kiki, then he's had a big problem there, and he's trying to get himself back underway then. Oh goodness me, clouting the wall as well. Then here comes pot stuff then all over the back of the. Oh my god, thank goodness he ghosted then. Oh my. Kiki's had a problem then. He's got wing damage then, that left end plate missing. Then he's into the pits then, the race leader. Unfortunately for Kiki, then he had a problem then as we got Sweet Engine Pete. No, we got. What's going on? Oh, it's just, I think it's, oh no, there is a problem then. It's for Beast. No, it's not for Beast. It's for somebody else. Then it's Casey Jennett. Then he's had an issue then at the Raskas corner, and he's lost the left end plate as well. Then has Casey Jennett. Then unfortunately, not sure what happened there between himself, Irvine, and potentially Beast as well. Then, but unfortunately for Casey Jennett, then trying to get himself back underway. Then in this race, then he has got himself back underway. Then, and it's down to P16. Unfortunately for him. Then Kiki in the pit lane, coming back out now in P18, which is definitely not where the former race leader wanted to be. But he has now got himself onto a set of hard compact tyres. Can he go to the end of the Grand Prix from here? I think it's doable, but it will be a pretty much one hell of a stretch indeed. Then towards the end, he's going to have to do about 35 laps then on those hard compact tyres, I should say. But potentially it could work out in his favour. That maybe we'll have to wait and see. Then I think Beast might be actually opting for the same strategy now as Kiki was on, or is now having to opt for, I should say. Then because I think Beast then is going to have to pit early then on those soft compound tyres. Maybe put himself to the back of the queue then, but of course maybe get an undercut on those hard compound tyres when he does put them on then later on in this race. Then Vessier now takes the lead then, of course, after Kiki's mistake then into the swimming pool section. Then Vessier then taking hold of the race lead. Kamara Racer P2, then Nigel up into P3, then Mumford trying to chase him down then. Oh my goodness me, oh wow, that was close indeed, wasn't it, then between the Kick Sauber then and the Alpine. And now down the hill then, Mumford all over the back then of that green machine then as we head down into the Mirabeau complex of corners. Plotters then P5, then Spencer Middleton up into P6. Now good stuff indeed. Then Vanquish P7 as it stands. Then into the pits comes Irvine for a wing change then up into down to P17, unfortunately onto the hard compound tyres. Casey also into the box as well then. He's onto a fresh set of medium compound tyres and back underway then for the Red Bull driver then. Unfortunately, I think they were both in the tangle then, weren't they, at the Raskas section. as Irvine, sorry, has cut the exit then on the pit lane. And unfortunately, I think he's got a penalty for that as well, has he? He's got a 3-second penalty, I think, for something else. So never mind then. So unfortunately for Farf and for Irvine, they have picked up the first penalties then of the evening. As Irvine just trying to get himself back underway, then Reflection up into P18 now. Casey back out in P19, then trying to get himself back underway then on those medium compound tyres. Out in front then, 1.5 seconds the gap then between Camaro and Vessia as it stands then. And here comes Mumford challenging into Sandoval. Then it's close indeed. It's contact between the two of them as they go up the hill now. But Nigel still holds on to that position. Then does he for the time being? Oh my goodness me, there's contact again between the two of them. Then Nigel trying to keep the car pointed in the right direction. Mumford is all over the back of that kick salver. He's down the side of that kick salver now as we head into... Oh my goodness me, this is not going to go very well. Then Mumford is getting desperate out there as well. Into the Mirabeau hairpin. Nigel holds on to P3. Spencer has got himself past Plotters somewhere in that part of the lap as well then. Goodness me, I completely missed it because we were watching the action between these two here then as we fly through into the tunnel then onto lap 7 we go now. And my God, it was getting very tense indeed between those two. Then here comes Mumford again, then down towards the Nouvelle chicane, but he's too far back to make the move on Nigel this time then. Goodness me. I keep saying goodness me because it's going to be goodness me, I think, for the rest of the action then for this lap. It was almost, oh my goodness me as well. I've almost Mumford has had a problem then, almost losing the car. Then the same place as Kiki had an issue. Then Plotters picks up a penalty, then going through into the swimming pool section. Then Nigel is holding up the championship challenger then of Mumford. Then here he comes then onto the main straight. Then DRS as well. Then down this straight as we go towards turn 1. And not enough straight, like I said, then with the DRS then for Mumford to make the move then into P3 then as it stands. Then Nigel holding on very well then to that P3 position then. But here comes Mumford again then on the attack as we go through into the Casino Square then. Not quite then for the Alpine then, but once again trying to have to try and slide his way through then into the hairpin section. But he's too far back again then for Mumford there. Good stuff indeed then between those two. Then they've managed to sort themselves out then. Beast is in the pit lane, so Beast is calling it a day then on the soft compound tyres on lap 8 then. Can he do 30 laps, or 31 laps I should say then on the hard compound tyres? Comes out then in P16 now, just ahead of Irvine then, but of course he is now on, well, I think this is his strategy then. This is Beast's strategy then for the race then. Soft compound tyres then to the hards then to the end of the Grand Prix as Nigel picks up a penalty then coming through the Nouvelle chicane then. Oh dear, squirrely then for Spencer Milton as well, looks like, coming out of the Nouvelle chicane into the swimming pool section then. Nigel holds on then to that P3 position. He's got a 3-second penalty then added to his race time. Oh my God, as oh my dear, they're all over the place there as well. Then here comes Mumford then trying to that back end, stepping out on both the kick salve and the Alpine, and into the wall goes Nigel then, and Mumford also doing the same as well then. Goodness me, oh my. It's all action then for P3 then downwards pretty much. Unfortunately for Vessia and Camaro, then we're not seeing much of them because they are out of the action as it stands. And into the Casino Square again. Then Nigel losing the back end once again. And this is just going to open the door for Mumford then. If that salver starts to spin, then going down the inside, there is Mumford. Then he's going to be squeezed on the wall there as well. Goodness me. Side by side then into the Mirabeau hairpin. And Nigel, I think, is going to hold on to it. Yes, he is. And he has held on to it just about then still. Kaido in the pit lane. He has called it a day then on the medium compound tyres. Then he's back in the pit lane. And oh dear, there's got more action. Then R2 Beats had an issue somewhere as well. Then into the hairpin as well. I'm not quite sure what happened then to R2 Beat. Then he's dropped down the order. Then he's lost out to Mr. Elite and Sweet Repeat, I think. Kaido back out onto the hard compound tyres. Then he's back underway. Here we're watching this battle once again though, because this is the heated battle then for that final podium place as it stands then. Lap 9 of 39. Then there's still 30 laps to go after this one. Hello, Ginger Man. Hello, Sirius, says Ginger Man, sorry. So good stuff indeed. Then Nigel is coming into the box and he's calling it a day on the medium compound tyres. And that was a very early stint and a very early stop indeed then for the Kick Sauber team. We'll have to wait and see where he's going to come out then, in what order. I think he's going to be behind Kiki potentially then, but that is not too bad. Then he's not got any wing damage to switch or just change that front wing then, so he's back underway quite quickly. He might come out ahead of Kiki here. We might have to wait and see then where he's going to be. Oh, he's clouded the wall, I think, on the exit there, which is not good news. Coming out of the pit lane now, he is going to be ahead of Kiki actually then into turn 1. Nigel P13 now onto the hard compound tyres, potentially looking for a strategy similar to Beast now, because Beast is then trying to chase down the chase down the leaders now, of course, on a different strategy then after having that issue in qualifying where he had a bit of a problem with the wall. Let's just say that. Mumford then up into P3 then after Nigel relinquished that position then into the pit lane. Then Spencer then regains P4. Gordo and Potstuff then. Gordo and Potstuff then are up switching places. Then Farf and Vanquish as well switching places. Then Reflection picks up a 3-second penalty. There's Ghosting Ghosting Saubers there. As goodness me, not quite sure what's happening there. But back past goes Potstuff then into P8 then. No, it's Potstuff's internet is having an issue, it seems like, because Gordo's now back through again. And, yeah, it seems like Potstuff is having a few connection problems out there in the Sauber car. Unfortunately for the Green Machine, then, yes, he has left the session. That is probably why. Into the pits comes Sweet 100p, then in the Alpine. Then he is calling it a day after 11 laps, then, or 10 laps on the medium compound tyres. Lap 11 has just commenced, then into the box, then onto the hard compound tyres. It goes the Alpine driver, then Nigel back up into P12 now. And this is where we might see the early stoppers getting an undercut here on those who have stayed out then for an extra few laps or so. Then as onto the main straight we go then for Ultimate Beast. Then where will he come out in respect to Sweet MJP? Where will Sweet MJP come out in respect to Ultimate Beast is what we should be saying as we go through Sandoval now. But there is the MJP then. He is ahead then in P14 by over 1.5 seconds then in this battle. Then Kaido then down to P20, but of course is now on the fresh hard compound tyres. Goodness me, he's cut the corner there quite drastically, and oh my god, almost losing the car then as well. Then oh my dear, trying to keep that car under control is the problem then for the McLaren driver. The race leader of Vessia then is going to be coming up to lap him very soon. Of course Vessia is yet to pit then, so Kaido will be back on the lead lap then when the Ferrari driver does pit. He's got a 3-second gap now over Kamara Racer as it stands then in the Williams car. Then Mr. Elite picks up a penalty then as well. Then Plotters has picked up a penalty somewhere as well then as they chase down Spencer Milton here as well then in this into lap 12 now. Gordo then all over the back of Vanquish. Then unfortunately for Potstuff, he's not in the session. Then hopefully he can get an invite. Then we've got an issue. We've got an issue for Kydell then in the hairpin. He's gone. Where has he gone? He's gone into the wall there. I think he's lost the front wing then. Unfortunately for Kydell, then he's back underway. Gordo's got himself past as Potstuff is back in the car then, or back in the session at least. Vanquish has been passed by Gordo then into sector 2. And now ahead of the Racing Bull driver in a bit of a sandwich now between the Racing Bulls then, but Gordo's got a 2.8 second gap then to Farf. If he can try and close that gap down, then of course I think we're starting to see those who started on the hard compound tyres, the likes of Farf and Gordo, are starting to catch up now to the medium compound tyre runners who are starting to fade out now in their race as well. Vanquish picked up a 3-second penalty coming through the Nouvelle chicane. Potstuff back in the car and back underway. Unfortunately has lost quite a bit of time then with that disconnection then as well. Then Nigel then all over the back of R2B then into the Nouvelle chicane as well. Then Gordo's got a 3-second penalty. Then Nigel of course on the fresh hard compound tyres compared to R2B's old medium compound tyres. There is not going to be too much of a contest here, but Nigel then is still trying to fight. Then of course R2B is still trying to fight as well. He's got every right to defend his position then, and around Monaco it is going to be difficult stuff indeed as R2B I think gets out of the way then and goes into the box. Then he calls it a day on the medium compound tyres then on lap 13. Oh my, I'm very sweaty. Connection problems then, says Kian then as well then, unfortunately for I think Potstuff then going to end in tears, says Mushroom. Then didn't end in tears, thankfully, as Beat then comes out of the pit lane. Then where is he going to be in respect to the rest of the order? Then I think he's going to be behind Reflection potentially. Then as Irvine then takes that P15. Yellow flags fluttering. Then I think for Kydell just getting out of the way then of the faster cars coming through now as well. Then 2.8 seconds the gap then between the two race leaders, or between the race leader and P2 I should say then, as Mumford then has got himself past Kydell then as well. Then Beast has got himself past Sweet and JP then into the hairpin section as well. Then Farf and Plotters battling away then as well into the swimming pool section. Not a interesting place to overtake that, to be fair. But Farf has got himself through then into P5 now. As Kaido unfortunately picks up another penalty for his troubles then. Oh goodness me, Spencer Milton clouting the wall then at the exit of Raskas. Then into the pits comes Plotters then from the medium compound tyres. Then the Red Bull driver into the box now, calling it a day on those medium compound tyres. It is a wing change as well then for the Red Bull, which is dangerous stuff indeed then, but he's now got himself a new front wing, a new set of tyres then, and back underway. Then Nigel takes back P8 then, here P9 I should say then. He's trying to chase down Mr. Elite, who's yet to pit in this Grand Prix as well, as we fly through Sandoval now. Kiki trying to catch up to this battle as well here. Kiki, of course, pit 5 laps earlier than for that wing damage, and now is trying to chase down Nigel. Then Nigel, of course, is not a de facto race leader, I don't think, at this stage, because I think the gap then was too much then to Vessia, and so Vessia should come out again ahead of Nigel when he does pit, that is. Potstar coming out of the pit lane in P14, then onto a fresh set of hard compound tyres. You've got Irvine chasing him down then up the hill, but he is now ready to go to the end of the race, as we've got an Alpine, a Sweet NGP then having an issue, and he's had an issue then at the exit of the where's that? The exit of the Casino Square, down the hill then towards the hairpin, and unfortunately for Sweet NGP, just pitted 3 laps ago as well. That wing damage then on the right end plate here, you can see there is going to be costly indeed then for the Alpine driver, then trying to get the car rotated around then, and unfortunately he's not having a great time up there. Kiki's got himself past Mr. Elite then, as has Nigel as well. Then we missed that because we were watching Sweet NGP having an issue, unfortunately. But Mr. Elite then, I think, I'm not in the fight then with the Sauber and with the Mercedes then at this point. Then Mr. Elite might come in the pit lane now, but nope, he's carrying on then on those medium compound tyres and soldiering on then P10 now for the time being. Then 6 seconds now the gap between Nigel and the top 7. Then the top 7 yet to pit then in this Grand Prix, as is Mr. Elite then, as is, well, Reflection has pitted, but he's going to have to pit again then, unfortunately. Kaido is into the box as well then on the medium compound tyres now as well, and back underway. Good stuff indeed then. Farf still chasing down Spencer Milton here as we go through into the into the tunnel section as well. Then here comes Farf then once again. Classic Farf move we're going to see. I'm pretty sure Swing Repeat back in the pit lane, unfortunately, for that wing damage. Unfortunately for the Alpine, not going his way today. Onto the soft compound tyres he goes. Farf then into the Nouvelle Chicane. Then he's being chased by Gordo as well. Now those two on the in the background then are on the hard compound tyres. Then Farf and Gordo, they are now on the probably the optimum tyre then compared to those on the medium compound tyres around them as well. Then the times starting to tumble down now for the drivers as the fuel load get lighter as well in this Grand Prix. Then we've got 23 laps to go at the end of this one. Then into the pits comes Spencer Milton. He's called it a day on the medium compound tyres. Beast on the hunt then, says Mushroom then as well. Yes, so Beast is on the hunt then. Where is Beast? Beast, of course, pitted very early from the soft compound tyres, which he started on, then to the hard compound tyres now. Vanquish also in the box as well then, so Vanquish, Mr. Elite then, and Spencer Milton then all in the pit lane. Coming out the box now for the Haas then. Where will he be in respect to the Beast, as Beast is kind of fly through now, but I think Spencer Milton is going to come out ahead then in P8. Then yes, he is ahead as we go through Zandvoort. Then Vanquish going to come out in P10, is he, or is it going to be close between himself and Plotters then? Yes, it is then, because Plotters takes that position then after making the undercut work then on the 2 lap older, I should say, hard compound tyres. Vanquish down to P11 then, back on the fresh hard compound tyres. Potstar coming out in P12 then. Irvine then, of course, 10 laps on his hard compound tyres. Then he's going to be soldering on out there for the time being. Mr. Elite comes out in P14, and there we go then. So that is the order as it stands then. Of course, no pit stops then for the top 5 yet. Of course, Farf and Gordo we expect to soldier on a bit longer. Then Camaro is in the pit lane then. So Camaro coming in now on lap 6, or end of lap 16 then for him, on to lap 17 here. About the halfway point almost for the Grand Prix. We're almost there. So there we go. Hard compound tyres going on the Williams car then, and back underway as we get ourselves sorted then for his hopefully his first and only pit stop in this Grand Prix. Then where will he come out then in respect to Nigel and the battling pack behind? Then Nigel takes the position, then he's up into P5 then ahead of Camaro. Kiki and Camaro's R2 Beats retired. R2 Beats had an issue somewhere. What is going on here? Yes, we have got an issue. R2 Beats had an issue then, I think at the same place that I did as well, then into the chicane. Yes, it was into the Nouvelle Chicane. There's no VSC or safety car for that. Then it's been cleared away very quickly indeed as we go through into the Nouvelle Chicane now. Then Sweet Repeat then is about to be lapped then by the other Ferrari then of Vessia then, unfortunately for Sweet Repeat. But of course he's on the soft compound tyre, so he's going to be a bit faster than the Ferrari at this stage, I would imagine. So potentially can stay on the lead lap then and try and gap the Ferrari then to stop himself getting lapped in this race. And of course Vessia then is yet to pit. Then will he pit this lap? Then yes, he will, and he is into the box now as well from the race lead. Then good stuff indeed then for Vessia. Then a good stint then on the medium compound tyres. He's coming to the box now, taking off those medium compound tyres onto the hard compound tyres, and back underway. Then Mumford also comes in as well for the Alpine team. And this is bad news because Farf is going to take the race lead, as there he is then into the race lead now. Of course, yet to pit in this Grand Prix then, as is Gordo as well. Then both these two carry on then on the hard compound tyres. Vessia coming out in P3. Nigel coming out in Well, Nigel, of course, not coming out of the pit lane, but he's come out in P4 then with that 8-lap undercut. Then he's got himself into contention then for a podium place. Then Mumford picks up a penalty. Coming out of the, where is that then? Coming out of the pit lane, I think then, is for Mumford. Then, unfortunately, for the Championship Challenge, and he's down to P7. Then Kamara Racer's got himself through. Kiki, of course, has got through, but he's on much older, hard compound tyres than the rest of the field now as we go through into the Mirabeau hairpin once again, then for the 18th time now, as Nigel now in contention, then for the race lead, then a net race lead, that is. Of course, penalty permitting as well, then, because he has picked up a track limits warning, but Vessi then is in a net race lead, then, with the top two yet to pit in this Grand Prix. So they will have to come into the pit lane very soon, or at some point in this race at least. So we'll have to wait and see when that's going to be. Then 5 seconds the gap between Vessia then and the race leaders as we go through the swimming pool section once again. Now Nigel then holding on to the Ferrari as it stands then. Of course, he's on 8 lap older tyres, as well as Kiki, who's on 13 lap older tyres as well then. So interesting stuff indeed. They're pretty quick then. My Ferrari is already sold, says RTB. Unfortunately for RTB, what a race to return to, as Kiki's had an issue and Kamara Race has gone through then into P5 then. Goodness me, what happened then to Kiki? I completely missed it because I was reading the comment section, but I'm very sorry if I missed it, and you can enlighten me in the comment section again so I can miss something else. But there we are then. Casey unfortunately picked up another penalty for his troubles into the Nouvelle Chicane, I think there. But there we go then. Kamara up into P5 now and ahead now of the challenging Mercedes. And Kiki, I think, has got a lot more wing damage then for the Mercedes driver. Unfortunately then for Kiki, his race has gone from bad to worse then in this Grand Prix. We're only halfway through as well then, so hopefully he can get himself back on form. Potentially he could flip back in his order in his favour then in the rest of this race. We'll have to wait and see what happens then for Kiki, but very good stuff indeed then for keeping going in this one and keeping on the attack then, as RTB has left the session. Unfortunately RTB is the first retirement of this Grand Prix then. Casey Dennett is back in the pit lane then to he's disappeared then. He's on to a set of medium compound tyres. Can get to the end of it from here, I would imagine then, for Casey, so we'll have to wait and see where he's going to finish then in this order then. Favre carries on then, same for Gordo as well then. These two staying out then on their hard compound tyres. 3 seconds the gap then back to Vessia then, who is currently the net race leader. Then Nigel's had an issue somewhere because he's lost out then a lot of time then to Vessia. Then here comes Kamara Racer then with the not aid of DRS then, unfortunately. Kiki back in the pit lane for a wing change and a new set of medium compound tyres then back underway. Then where will he come out in respect to the rest of the order then? Unfortunately, I think it'll be behind Irvine and potentially Mr. Elite as well then. So he's got some challenging to do then for Kiki once again then, unfortunately, in this Grand Prix. Then Kamara Racer now all over the back of Nigel as we go through. As where is Kiki going to come out of the order then? There is McLaren of Mr. Elite then as we go flying through then in towards Sandoval then for the McLaren then. Unfortunately for Kiki, even though the pit exit is a bit tighter than turn 1 then, he is out behind the McLaren then in P14. My goodness me, I missed it. Yes, that's right then. Serious Mushroom said I missed it. Yes, I did. I'm pretty sure I did. So there we go. But like I said, I was reading the comment section, so I'm pretty sure I'll miss some more as well then. But unfortunately for RTB then, like I said, no practice, and he had 3 weeks off, then come back to the Monaco Grand Prix for his first race back. And what a first race back to return to as well then. But hopefully he will bounce back then in the next week or so. But there we are then into Anthony Nodes once again. Then here comes Kamara Racer on the attack, and I don't think there's enough straight once again then for Kamara to make the move into turn 1. Not quite there for the Williams driver then, unfortunately. Spencer Milton is back on the attack then with Mumford then P6 then. Ultimate Beast is only 2 seconds or 3 seconds off the back of those two then, who are battling away then. And of course he's on a different strategy, or slightly different strategy then to the rest of the field then, but he's trying to get himself back into some points paying, but contention I should say then in this race, after finishing qualifying in P19 after a big crash then at the Casino Square in his first qualifying lap attempt. So didn't even get a time on the board, unfortunately, for Beast. And he started P19 with no time set then in qualifying, is currently now P8 then, as he looks to keep up the challenge then for the title fight then. Reflection into the box then, calling it a day on the medium compound tyres. And Meranov as well then on the off for the Aston Martin, then calling it day on the hard compound as well then. So MVP takes back those 2 places as he goes down the main straight then up into P15. But there we are then. Unfortunately, we've got a few people having a few issues out there, unfortunately, with their wing damages and whatnot. Vessia now is into the fight then for the race lead then. Of course, the 2 ahead of him yet to pit in this Grand Prix, and they're on much older hard compound tyres than compared to the Ferraris, that is. as out of the pit lane comes Miranov as well then. Unfortunately has been lapped then by the trio here as well. Then up the hill we go in toward the casino then, and there is Vessi then, I think going to be having to take his time trying to get himself past these two because they are in a fight for themselves. And oh goodness me, in the background then there is Miranov. Then he's had an issue then as we go over the top of the hill. Then he's spun the car around, he's reset the track as well then. Goodness me, I think just to try and get himself out of the way then of the field there, and he has done as well then, thankfully. But unfortunately, just out of the pit lane there as well then, has cost himself a wing damage as well there, which is a big shame indeed then. But unfortunately, like I said, it's the nature of the beast then at Monaco. As Kamara Racer has got himself past Nigel there somewhere, I'm not quite sure how, but he has done somehow anyway. And into the Nouvelle chicane now we go then. Kamara is ahead then. Kamara trying to chase down Vessia, and let's see what he can do then. Spencer Milton picks up a 3-second penalty then coming through the Nouvelle chicane. Unfortunately for the Haas driver then, Beast then is 3.8 seconds back. That's the Aston Martin of Miranov then trying to get himself out of the way. As unfortunately for Sweet then, he's back in the pit lane. Then he's onto a hard compound tyres into the... No, we haven't. Well, goodness me, we've got pit lane action. Sorry, I thought we had some problems there, but it was pit lane action then for Farf and for Gorda. They're calling it a day on the hard compound tyres now. Yellow flag then for Kiki, who's out of the Grand Prix here, and it's a virtual safety car. Virtual safety car for Kiki then, who's had an issue. Where has he had the issue is the question. It's here then into the well, oh dear. We can't quite tell because Kai doesn't slow down very much into the Nouvelle chicane, but I think it was at the exit of that Nouvelle chicane then for Kiki, which has caused the issue there. Miranov then is going to take the advantage in with a pit stop, then same for Irvine and same for Mr. Elite as well. They're coming into the box then to service their cars as well, then get themselves sorted. I think we're too far around the lap then for any of the rest of the fields potentially to make any advantages of that VSC at this stage, unless it stays out for a long time. We'll have to wait and see. But yes, unfortunately for Kiki then, from pole position then, it's gone from bad to worse for Kiki then, as here comes Nigel on the attack then down toward the Nouvelle chicane. Goodness me. And Kamara Racing got a 3-second penalty for corner cutting there, and seemed to unfortunately as Mumford's had an issue as well then, has been passed by Spencer Milton as well then into the Nouvelle chicane then. Goodness me, a lot of people then having a few... Is that... I'm not quite... No, it's not Mumford's car, that's a Sweet 100p's car, I think. Yes, so both of those drivers then having a problem then, it seems like, getting through. Plotters then has got a 3-second penalty, and Kamara then picked up a 3-second penalty then for cutting the chicane, in trying to overtake Nigel then. Unfortunately, well, he didn't give the place back then. Unfortunately, I think that might stand then for the Williams driver. And then we'll have to wait and see then as Kiki has left the session. Unfortunately, the second retirement of this Grand Prix on lap 23 then in this one as well. So far, so good then for the other 18 drivers then still in this Grand Prix as well. But a fair play to those who are soldiering on out there as well. They've got a problem for a Haas then. Spencer Milton's had an issue and he has spun the car around, unfortunately for him. And goodness me, unfortunately, it's terrible news then for Spencer Milton, who's doing very well in his first reserve appearance then in silver tonight. But unfortunately has cost himself there with the wing damage there as well. And in the Haas there, going to have to come into the box then and sort that out as well. Yellow flags. Vessia's retired from the race lead then. Goodness me, what's happened to Vessia then? He's had an issue then at the Nouvelle chicane. Then the race leader is out of the Grand Prix. And my God, goodness me then, what is happening here then? All of them are starting to fall by the wayside now. 3 drivers out. And Vessia then from the race lead then pushing a bit too hard potentially then. He didn't need to push at this stage. But unfortunately out of the Grand Prix from the same place that I had my lovely incident yesterday as well then. And unfortunately for Vessia, I think he was reserving in that race last night and got caught up in that too because he was behind me. But Vessia then, heartbreak then for the Ferrari driver then out of the Grand Prix here. We've got a problem for a McLaren. Again at the hairpin section as well. Then he's got himself back underway. Then Spencer Milton is in the pit lane to sort out that front wing damage. Unfortunately for the Haas driver, then he could come out ahead of his teammate here potentially. We'll have to wait and see then. But pot stuff then will take that P9. Soft compound tyres going on at the Haas car. Then he is back underway. He's not changed the front wing. No, that is bad news indeed. I think that he didn't have it set then to change the front wing, and that is going to be costly indeed. You need to make sure you change that setting in your MFD then before your pit stops as well then. Coming through into, goodness me then for Farf, then he is battling away with Plotters then, and typical Farf fashion then, just going to go for an overtake wherever it is. Doesn't matter what quarter it is, doesn't matter what circuit it is, he's just going to go for it and send it, and he's not sent it then into the Nouvelle chicane, thankfully. Goodness me then. Gorda then is out on the medium compound tyres as well. Then here's trying to chase down Favre, who is involved in this battle here as well with Plotters. out in front. Then Mumford then is well, half a second behind Nigel. Then there's 4.6 second gap then between Kamara Racer, who's currently the race leader now. I don't want to jinx it then, because he is doing a great job out there, but he's still got another 14 laps to go then after this one, as we cross into lap 26 now as well. Up the hill then for Mumford, then he's trying to challenge then Nigel once again, then these two challenging each other, then up the hill then towards the Casino Square. Then Far picks up a penalty then going through into turn 1. Now into the Casino Square then for Mumford, then all over the back then of the kick but once again as history repeats itself in this Grand Prix, down into the hairpin of Mirabeau once again then for Farf. Here comes Farf then on the attack, then he's knocked himself past the Rebel. Then Spencer Milton is back in the pit lane again then, I think to sort out that front wing damage. Irvine now takes that P10 position away from his teammate. Farf and Plotters then side by side through there. Then, goodness me, that is definitely not where to overtake, and Farf has got himself through somehow. And yes, just typical really of Monaco Grand Prix racing, and Farf in a nutshell. As round the outside for Gordo, trying to go through on the Red Bull of Plotters. He's got the move as well then. And goodness me, then those three all fighting very hard. Then elbows out then for all of them. And not easy to overtake around Monaco, but they've tried it nonetheless. Then unfortunately, some of them have come off worse and come off better than others, as that is the nature of Monaco as well. Then, isn't it? As unfortunately, we've had 3 retirements in this Grand Prix. Then R2 beat Kiki and Vessia, both Ferraris out of the race here in Monaco. Unfortunately, with 2 crashes, separate crashes as well. Then. And Kiki as well having an issue at the chicane, as Mr. Elite's had the same issue as well, has he? Yes, he has. Then at the exit of the Nouvelle chicane, then for Mr. Elite, then he has torn off a wheel. Virtual safety car has been released. My God. Vessia said clip the inside and rip the tyre off. Then says Vessia, that exactly the same thing as I did yesterday. So only the best can do that. Don't you worry. Then as yes, Mr. Elite's had an issue then at the Nouvelle chicane as well. Then is anybody going to take the opportunity to pit then in this race? Then where are the race leaders? Kamara Racer picks up a 3-second penalty under the VSC for track limits. Then goodness me, that is quite an achievement indeed. Sweet Andrew has got a drive-through penalty. Oh God, it's going from bad to worse for Sweet Andrew as well. Then unfortunately for him as well, it's just when it rains it pours, doesn't it? For Sweet Andrew, unfortunately it just seems, as into the pits comes the McLaren then of Kydell, but Kamara Racer carries on. Then he's going to go on to lap 28 here, and carrying on through into this race. Then 12 laps remaining at the end of this one as well. Then so far so good. Then unlucky, says Kiki as well. Then yes. Spin in 5th gear, going through the swimming pool section. Yeah, it's that. Well, that's the corner then that caught Kiki out. To be fair, it's the same for all the drivers as well. Then we've had a few. Well, we can see everyone loses the car through there. A lot of people invalidate through there, trying to keep the car correct as well. Then so it is the nature of that corner, unfortunately. Then I'll take it, says Vessia as well. Then. Not excited when real MHD is not racing, says MHD. Well, you need to get back racing then, sir, and we'll have you back on the grid then when you're ready then. As Casey Jennett has retired now as well then, and what's this going to be? Is this going to be another safety car, another problem then for what's going to go on here? We'll have to wait and see. Then into the chicane, and Mumford has gone for the move. Then he's got himself past Nigel and up into P2. Then blimey, what a move then indeed. Then Ultimate Beast then up into P4 now, as Spencer Milton sets the fastest. Spencer Milton sets the fastest lap of the race. Then say that quickly 5 times. But there we go. Then good stuff indeed. Then Spencer Milton will hold on to that point, I should say. Then if he can keep that fastest lap then for the rest of the race. Then lap 29 of 39 has commenced now, as Mumford then leading the charge and trying to get himself into contention then for the race win here with Kamara Racer. Now up the hill we go then once again. Then Farf and then in P5 then behind Ultimate Beast there. Irvine picks up a penalty as well then, but at the moment I don't think that will cost him too much then, because he's got quite a gap then to his teammate in P11. So Farf Gordo chasing down Ultimate Beast then, but Beast is on much older hard compound tyres and looks to be going to the end of the race then with no penalties then for the Beast as it stands as well then. So Farf is once again going to have to try and get his wonderful overtaking master strokes out again, get them out of the toolbox then and back underway then. But I'm not quite sure Beast is going to be too happy if Farf tries to make an overtake anywhere, as yellow flags again then fluttering around then for somebody else. Then 5 retirements already in this Grand Prix, as it seems like after lap 23 then they just started falling by the wayside then, as Farf then has definitely got a warning for that then. That was definitely corner cutting through the Nouvelle chicane, as there we go through into the swimming pool section. Now we go for the Beast, as he's challenging them to keep his title fight alive. Then Mumford currently in P2. We'll have a look at the penalty situation in just a jiffy then, but currently P2 for Mumford then at worst. Then that is not looking too shabby then for Mumford on his return after missing the Imola Grand Prix, and Beast of course winning in the Imola as well. It is coming back into his favour potentially. We'll have to wait and see then into the first turn once again. Then Farf not close enough then to make a move then into Zandvoort. Then up the hill we go then towards the Casino Square once again. Then lap 30 of 39 here as we're getting into the twilight then of the Grand Prix. Nice and dry, sunny race this one, which is fantastic stuff indeed. Beast go pop then says Mushroom, then that chicane says Casey Jennett as well. Then unfortunately he was a victim of the chicane once again then, as to be fair, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Not saying that I'm any good at racing, to be fair, but there we go. If I did it yesterday, then anyone can do it as well. So you're all welcome then. It's probably just a curse that I've left on that barrier for whatever reason. But there we are then, in towards the Nouvelle chicane then for Farf. Then he's too far back to make a lunge down into that chicane, and has to sit behind Beast once again. Then 3 seconds to get them to the top 3 for Beast. Then yellow flags. It's for Plotters. Then Plotters had an issue then at the Nouvelle chicane. He's where was he? He's got the whole front wing intact then still, so he must have clipped the rear tyre then on a wall somewhere and spun the car around, but he's got himself corrected quickly enough then in P7. Then he's got Vanquish now for company. Here we go then back through Anthony Nodes then for Farf, for Gordo and for the Beast as we head towards turn 1. This time is Farf close enough to make a lunge? Not quite then for the Beast, unfortunately. Oh, sorry, for Farf. Then Farf is a beast as well then, of course. Yeah, there we are. Up the hill once again then for Ultimate Beast, then for Farf then, and Gordo I think just waiting in the wings then for any mishaps that might happen between these two, and with Farf involved you never know. So there we go, into the hairpin once again, and oh dear, I thought he was going to go for a dive down there as well then for Farf, but not quite then. Thinks better of it then, but now he's got the inside, now he's got the outside I should say then, and Beast trying to hold him off then as we go into the tunnel section. Then he's just about held him off then into that tunnel as well then once again then, but 0.2 of a second is the gap between the P5 and P4. Reflection picks up a penalty as well then, unfortunately for Reflection. It is not going his way at the moment then, but we've still got a few laps to go then. Farf picks up another penalty then, and goodness me, then Beast has gone into the wall then, and Farf has got a penalty then as he cuts the chicane. Beast has got wing damage there, and unfortunately for Farf that is, well, it's definitely going to be his fault, because you can't corner cut then and then put your rival into a wall there. So unfortunately for Farf, that is going to come back to bite him, I'm afraid. Now he's got 1.7 second gap then to Ultimate Beast as well then. But Farf then getting his elbows out once as usual has cost Beast in this Grand Prix, then trying to recover in this race, but he's done a great job so far. Then still P5 of course with no penalties then for Ultimate Beast. Then so far so good. Then that wing damage might be costly then in the latter few laps then. Oh my goodness me, as Gordo is trying to go through as well. Then Gordo's up into a P5 and takes the place then from Beast as well then through into the Casino Square then. But unfortunately, like I said, I think Beast now is just going to have to struggle to the end of the race from here and do his best from this position after that incident then with Farf. Kiki, look at this way. The tracks have gone. There it is then. So that is it. Yes, well, of course, after Monaco it is done. To be fair, I think after this race for Silver, that is, after this race for Silver, Monaco is done for F1 24. Yes, so you can look forward to that then. It's not really coming back for next season, I don't think. So, so there we are. But yeah, it's not all doom and gloom. Mr. Elite has left the session. Unfortunately, Mr. Elite was one of the casualties then from a previous lap or two ago. That is, lap 33 has commenced now as well. Then 7 laps, remain at the end of this. 7 laps remain now as we go up the hill then for Kamara Racer. 5 seconds the gap back to Mumford then in the Alpine then, and then we've got another 5 seconds back to Nigel then, who's now got Farf then chasing him down for that final podium place. And of course, I think Farf will be under investigation, let's just say, from the stewards then after that incident there. Right then, Beast could go pop, says Mushroom then, but Beast currently carrying on then 25 laps on the hard compound tyres. Yellow flags, yellow on the main straight, yellow flags. What's happened to this sweet MJP? Who's had an issue. I think coming out of maybe Anthony Nodes then, not quite sure for the Alpine, but he's back underway. No, he's lost the right end plate then, so he must have had clout with the wall somewhere, unfortunately then for Sweet MJP then. Unfortunately, it's not going his way as it stands in this race. And there we are then. But out in front then at 4.7 seconds the gap. We'll have a look at the penalty situation now, because 6 seconds for Kamara, 13 seconds for Mumford. Goodness me, I didn't notice that, but that is going to be quite impactful then for his finishing position. Then Nigel will be able to gain that place back then if he stays within that within a 10-second gap then of the Alpine car. Kamara Racer looking strong then for the race win potentially here as well. Then we'll have a lot of penalties to be added on then to the end of this race then, where will Ultimate Beast finish up then in respect to the rest of the order. Then I think he'll be able to gain on Farf, then he'll be able to gain potentially on Mumford. We'll have to wait and see then how far he drops back with that damage as well then in this race as well. We'll have to wait and see, but so far so good then. And what a challenge then for Beast. Then he's currently he's on course then for a top 5 finish then, after starting from P19 then without spending a time in qualifying because of a big accident then in the qualifying session then for Beast. So far so good then. Driver of the Day candidates are out then in the comment section. Beast, Kamara Racer, Nigel and Gordo are your candidates then as well. Then get your votes in the comment section, as we've got more yellow flags, as I've missed it again. It's a Haas of Spencer Milton, as we've got Nigel retiring from the race as well then. Goodness me. Virtual safety car has been deployed. And Nigel's had an issue then. Not sure why. You don't need to drive around them. They're ghosted. I'm not sure why Nigel then has had an issue. He has had an issue into the new Belgian chicane. Unfortunately for Nigel, was going so well, then he was on for potentially a podium place then for the Kicksauber. Now 6 drivers retired then from this Grand Prix, as Irvine now promoted to the points paying positions as well then. But unfortunately, have we got any pit stop activity? Ultimate Beast is staying out then, even with the wing damage. He's trying to stay out. He wants to stay out in this race. So we'll have to wait and see how it's going to unfold then in the latter part of the Grand Prix as well then. Unfortunately for Farf, Farf has been promoted to the podium places as it stands then. Gordo is within 6 seconds of him though, so he would take that P3 away from him. Beast now. Beast could be challenging potentially for a podium place here, which is pretty good stuff indeed then. I don't think he's close enough to Mumford's penalty though to capitalise then, even with 13 seconds then for Mumford. So Mumford will drop down the order. Well, he won't drop down the order now, because Nigel then was only on 3 seconds of penalties then, so he would have dropped behind Nigel unfortunately, but he will not drop behind Nigel now, as of course Nigel out of the Grand Prix here on lap 34. Lap 35 has commenced then. Safety car, so VSC has gone away, so nobody's got a drive-through penalty this time then, thankfully, and we can get ourselves resumed then for this last few laps then here in qualifying, here in this race I should say. Goodness me, I'm getting a bit too hot then, I'm delirious. But there we are then, 5.7 seconds the gap then between Beast and the top 4. If that gap comes down in his favour then any more, then that will potentially promote him into the podium places then with no penalties. Then lap 36 of 39 has commenced then. Nigel's left the session. Unfortunately for Nigel, it was going so well up until the last couple of laps there. In no way, says Nigel in the comment section as well then. I feel for you, Nigel. There was a fantastic race from yourself as well, once again then, but you've been bouncing back then, especially after Imola as well. Some big points in Imola then, and looking good here in Monaco then up until lap 34 then. So hopefully in Canada then will be, of course Canada was his first ALR race then. Back in ALR Gold Season 1 was when Nigel joined the fight then for in ALR, and he got himself a first race win then in his first appearance then. So Canada next week then for silver, then potentially we can see Nigel back on top hopefully, with some extra pace as well. Then good stuff indeed then from Nigel. Then unfortunately been claimed by the barriers here in Monaco, which is the same for quite a few drivers here tonight then, and unfortunately it's going to be the gist of it for Monaco Grand Prix racing as it stands then, as Spencer Milton's got a 10-second penalty for cutting the corner there. Not quite sure what happened then to Spencer Milton, but he seems to be on a charge. Literally, he's got himself a 10-second penalty charge, which is going to be added to his race time at the end of the Grand Prix then for the Haas driver, which is a bit odd. But of course, if that's unfair, then we'll have to review it after the race then. But at the moment, I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference then as it stands. But we'll have to wait and see. Fair play to Kydell as well, soldiering on out there as well in the McLaren, who is still going in this race. Then 14 drivers remain here in this Grand Prix as we go on to lap 37. Then 2.5 laps remain of the Monaco Grand Prix for Silver Season 8, round 8 here as we go through into the tunnel now for our race leader then of Kamara Racer. Then 3.3 seconds the gap then to Mumford. That gap is coming down quite significantly then from Mumford's point of view, but it's not going to be enough then, unfortunately, then with the penalties that have been racked up then for the Alpine driver then, as as we fly through into the Nouvelle Chicane once again. Then Favre then in P3 coming through the tunnel section. Now Gordo then is waiting in the wings. Then he's not doing too much. Then is Gordo because he knows that of course the penalty situation then for Favre will be in Gordo's favour then when he crosses the start finish line then for the final time. So it is not all done and dusted just yet then for Gordo then. As a driver of the day, get your votes in then for the comment section. Then we've got Beast, Kamara, Nigel and Gordo then for your candidates of driver of the day here in Monaco. Good stuff indeed. Whilst we're there, we'll have a look at the position changes as well then. Alton Beast up 14 places, then potentially could gain a couple of places in penalty situations then in his favour. We'll have to wait and see. But there we are then. Gordo then is up 8 places as well then, of course, penalties permitting, that is. I think he'll be up 9 places then ahead of Favre then with Favre's penalties as well then, who's now going to be down, or he's going to be up 5 places then at the end of the race. But potentially with the steward's investigation coming his way then for his incident with Beast, potentially we could see some more then as McLaren of Kaidel's had another issue then at the swimming pool section. What is going on there? My goodness me. Yes, he is trying to get that car turned around, but he has had a bit of a problem then through that swimming pool chicane. As there we go then, 2.5 seconds the gap then on lap 38 here. But of course, Kamara Racer can see the penalty situation for Mumford, so he doesn't have to worry too much then. As although he does have to worry now then with Kamara Racer picking up another penalty through the swimming pool chicane. And goodness me, the penalty situation is going to be very tight indeed. It looks like then potentially tighter than we thought then, with Kamara Racer then picking up another penalty then on lap 38, then on to lap 39, the final lap of the Grand Prix here. 1.2 seconds the gap. Then there's Sweet P's got a 10-second penalty for crossing the pit lane exit at the start finish. What is going on there for Sweet P then? Goodness me. It's well, he's had another issue because he's got wing damage again then, unfortunately, for the Alpine. But just needs to get to the end of the Grand Prix here then, so he can finish off the race then. Out in front then, here is the race leader then, is Kamara Racer then. He has been leading the way then for quite a substantial amount of laps then, as we got Reflection being passed by Spencer Milton. But of course, penalty situation then for Reflection will put him back ahead of the Haas. But Kamara Racer then, by leading the race then for quite a substantial part of this second half of the Grand Prix then through into the Nouvelle Chicane. He doesn't have to push too hard at this situation now. He knows that he's got the race lead, race win I should say then, in the bag as it stands then. Swimming P got a 3-second penalty for corner cutting, unfortunately for the Alpine driver, through the swimming pool section then for Kamara Racer. Then he is going to come through sector 3 then into Raskas then, and this is going to be his first race win of his silver career as he comes through Anthony Nose, then just needs to keep it pointed in the right direction, and he has done very nicely then. Kamara Racer is going to cross the line to win the Monaco Grand Prix for Silver Season 8, Round 8 as well then. Brilliant stuff indeed. He's retired on the circuit. Then Mumford P2 I should say in the end then. Brilliant stuff from Mumford as well then. Kamara Racer, let's go back to this man. Kamara Racer then wins the Monaco Grand Prix for the Williams team, his first race win of his silver career, and what a race win indeed then for the Williams driver, then for the Austrian driver as well here in Monaco. Brilliant stuff as we go through the Mirabeau section then on his parade lap as well then. Brilliant stuff indeed for Kamara Racer then, taking the crown here in Monaco for round 8. Mumford P2, brilliant stuff from the Alpine driver. Then Gordo does get P3 in the end with Favre's penalty. Then Favre the motor down the order. Then Beast is finishing in P5 then, and potentially with Favre getting a penalty or two as well, could get himself up into P4 then, which is no mean feat then after starting P19 with no qualifying lap after that crash in qualifying as well. Plotters P6 in the end then. Fantastic stuff indeed. Monaco's the best track, they said. Yes, they did indeed, says Serious Mushroom. Then yes, very well done indeed. Serious Mushroom's got it right in the comment section. Monaco is the best track of them all then, and there it is then. That has rounded off the Monaco Grand Prix for Silver Season 8, Round 8 as well then. There is Kamara Racer on the top step of the podium there as well. Fantastic stuff indeed for the Williams driver. What a race, what a victory then for the Williams man and the Austrian man as well then. Fantastic stuff indeed then. The first Austrian to win a Grand Prix in ALR. So there we go then. Fantastic stuff indeed then. We had Mumford then in P2 in the Alpine. Brilliant stuff from him as well then. Gordo P3 carrying on his charge as well then. Is Gordo in the Aston Martin, currently in the podium places as well for the championship standings, as we get ourselves a nice celebration there with the champagne here in Monaco then. What a race then. The best race to win in any F1 calendar as well. Then the Kamara racer has done it then in the Williams car. Fantastic stuff indeed. There is your top three then, as we've just seen. Then Farf P4, Beast P5, Plotters P6, Potstuff P7, Vanquish P8, Irvine P9, Reflection P10 rounds off the top 10 as well. Then Haas of Spencer Milton P11 with the fastest lap of the race, and Meranov P12, 300P P13. Kaido P14, Nigel P15, Casey P16, Mr. Elite P17, Vessia P18, Kiki P19, and R2 Beat in P20 of this Grand Prix. Fantastic stuff indeed then from all drivers then who got to the checkered flag. And we're going to have a few interviews, I think, then with the drivers then who have got themselves to the checkered flag as well. Then brilliant stuff indeed from all the drivers then who have got to this done 39 laps around here without getting themselves in any trouble. And we will get ourselves some interviews underway now as well. Then we'll start off with our. I'm not sure if our race winner has joined us, to be honest, but there we go. We'll have to just double check. He has not joined us, unfortunately. We'll start off then with Mumford, then P2 in this race. Then Mumford, a fantastic race for you then there in that Monaco Grand Prix. You had quite a few battles and you were stuck up behind Nigel for a couple of attempts there as well. And you got yourself a P2 in this race then. Is that a good P2, or were you expecting more in this Grand Prix?
I think with the way it went, I thought I should have won, to be honest. I think my race pace was genuinely better than everyone's around me, barring Kiki. I think just getting stuck behind Nigel just kind of killed her off. The gap went from like 2 seconds to come on back to like 8 seconds by the time I got past. So yeah, I think that was the nail in the coffin, really.
But still a fantastic result then as well. You got a 10-second penalty somewhere. We didn't see it on the stream, or I didn't see it in commentary, that is. But can you explain to us what happened with that 10-second penalty?
I just got understeer at the pits. I got a warning on a 10-second penalty, so yeah, it is what it is.
I see. All right, but it's a shame that penalty then, unfortunately, it cost the result in the end, because you were 5 seconds behind with the penalty situation, or 4 seconds behind with the penalty situation then at the end of the Grand Prix, that is. But nonetheless, it's still a fantastic race from yourself then, and your challenger then, Beast, of course, you did say to him in the comment section, in the Discord before the race, that if he didn't qualify, that would be a good thing for yourself then. Did you think it was still a good thing for yourself then? I think you finished P5 then in the end.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's still an 8-point swing. Obviously, I missed last week, so it made the gap bigger than it should have been. But yeah, any points and getting closer by any points is a good thing this race. So.
And yeah, like I said, just at the end of that race as well, fair play just to finish the race, to be fair. Around here, it's no mean feat, so well done indeed then, Mumford P2 for the Alpine outfit then, and carrying on the championship fight then with Ultimate Beast here in this one as well then. Gordo then is P3 in this one as well then, with the penalty situation then for one of your closest rivals on the track, and for the whole 39 laps then was far. But another podium then for yourself, so how were you feeling after that race?
Yeah, it was good. I wasn't expecting it from qualifying 12th, but luckily, as you say, I was kind of behind Farth for most of the race. So when he put somebody in the wall, I was able to just go by them that way. No, that did help, having him overtaking people and helped me able to go through. But no, I enjoyed that race. It was good. Didn't expect the third, so I'll definitely take it.
And another podium then for your ranks then will put you in. I think it still puts you in contention then for top 3 in the standings as well. Then are you looking to rival these two, Mumford and Beast, then for the rest of the
season? They're very quick. I mean, fair play to I think the gap's already not far from 100 points, so I doubt I'll be able to challenge them. But of course, a third, I would say, would definitely be the aim for this season, hopefully.
Good stuff indeed. Well, you're doing a good job, going in the right order then for that to carry on then in that case with another podium here in Monaco. And again, fair play to finishing 39 laps around here in a podium place for Gordo as well. Brilliant stuff indeed for the Aston Martin driver then. Of course, Kamara Racer hasn't joined us then for the podium interviews, but he is our race winner then in the Williams for the Monaco Grand Prix. We'll be back in Canada then in a week's time then for more ALR silver action. But of course, if you want more ALR action, we've got bronze tomorrow night here in Monaco as well, then followed by 100% of the Canadian Grand Prix on Wednesday night as well. So stay tuned to ALR. There's plenty more action coming up, and we'll see you very soon.